I'm Barb. Today I'm making a strawberry apricot jelly. It's one of the favorites of my daughter-in-law Stacy. She loves it. And I like Pomona's Pectin. You can use it no sugar, low sugar. You can use honey or agave. There's lots of different options for this, which is one of the reasons why I like it. It sets up every time. I have 3.5 cups of apricots and 3.5 cups of diced strawberries. Okay, I have half a cup of water in the jar, and I'm going to add to it half a teaspoon of the calcium powder. The pectin together create a reaction that thickens the jelly. I screw the lid on it, and then I shake it up until the powder dissolves. The next step is I have measured out 3 cups of sugar, because I'm doing this low sugar. And I know it may sound like 3 cups of sugar is low sugar, but in traditional jam, when you're making strawberry, they ask for 5 3/4 cups of berries and 8 cups of sugar. So this is considerably less. To the sugar, I'm going to add the pectin powder. I have 4 teaspoons of the pectin powder, and you need to mix the sugar and the pectin powder together. That prevents any lumps from forming. If you just add it straight in, you do get lumps. I turn the stove to medium-high heat. I'm going to put my strawberries in first, then my apricots. I have half a cup of lemon juice that I'm adding to this. I'm going to add in 4 teaspoons of the calcium water. You can store this in the refrigerator once you've used it, and it's good for quite a long while. Once this comes to a boil, I will add the sugar and the pectin. Now with the jars, you can either put the jars in the dishwasher and run them through the dishwasher to sanitize them. With my jars today, I didn't have time for that, so I washed them by hand, and I put them in an oven on 190 degrees, because about 180, 185 is when all bacteria and such get killed. So that will sanitize them. I have them in the oven for at least 10 minutes, and I just kind of leave them in the hot oven until I'm ready to do it. Oh, it smells so good. So this recipe is 3.5 cups of apricots, 3.5 cups of strawberries, and then I did half a cup of lemon juice. The lemon juice is added, increase the acidic level, and it also gives it a nice balance of the tartness and the sweetness of the sugar and the fruit. If you like a smoother jam, you could absolutely blend this in your blender or your fruit processor. The fruit does tend to break down in the boiling process, and so it's not as chunky as it is currently. So my mixture has started to full boil, so I'm going to add the sugar and the pectin in, mixing it till it's all dissolved. Back up to a boil, and I'm going to put the timer on for 2 minutes. When you're canning something that's hot, you want to have a hot jam with hot jars, and you want to put it in a hot canner. The reason you want to do that is you want to avoid putting hot jam into cold jars, because you can get thermal fractures, and it's no fun to pull a jar out of your canner and have it break and you lose all of your jam or all your peaches, what have you, from that. The jam is starting to thicken up. It's starting to boil. I can tell that all the sugars have dissolved. And I'm going to put my timer on for 1 minute. smells really good. And there you have it. I'm going to fill the jars. You want to fill the jars right below the neck. So I didn't have quite enough to fill another jar, but I'll just leave this out and we can have some with our rolls. So at this point, we're going to wipe the rims, and I have hot lids here. I'm going to be putting the hot lids on these, and then they'll be ready to process. I'm going to wipe the rims on these. Hot, hot, hot. I kind of made a mess here. You want to screw them on finger tight just so that it holds the lid in place for the process. You also want to check each jar when you're getting them out and washing them. I am using my ball lids today. I have a surplus of them. I was stockpiling them, being anything I could take. And so with the jam, I don't mind if I have one that doesn't seal properly, because I can reprocess it or just throw it in the fridge and use it right away. So again, just finger tight on these. Now with the steamer canner, once the steam gets a steady flow coming out the hole here, that's when you start timing the process. For the half-pint jars, it's 15 minutes of processing time if you're at sea level. For every 1,000 feet above sea level, you have to add 1 minute of time. So I'm at 5,000 feet, so this will process for 20 minutes once I get a steady flow of steam coming out the hole. Now that I've got a steady flow of steam coming out of the canner, I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. Once the timer goes off and it's completed its 20-minute cycle, I shut the heat off and I let it set for 10 minutes before I remove the lid. So now that it's cooled for 10 minutes, I'm going to take the lid off. Make sure you vent it away from your body so that the steam doesn't burn you. And at this point, we're going to let it sit for a few more minutes, and then I'll take it off and I put it on a cloth. You want to make sure that if you've got a cold, like I've got a stone countertop, it's cold, it could fracture the jars being hot. Oh, did you hear that? That's the jar sealing during the pops. So you don't want to put the hot jars on a cold countertop because that could cause a fracture. So you want to make sure you let them cool enough and put them on a towel. You want to let them sit for 24 to 48 hours, and then you take the rings off of them. I store them with the rings off and then I wash the jars carefully. You want to make sure you don't use hot water because you can unseal your jars if you're using really hot water. It's because sometimes, as you can see, I get a little bit messy and I had jam on the side of the jars. So I store them without the screws caps on, and I write the date on them and label them as to what they are to make bread or rolls when I can jam, just so that I can sample it. Oh, did you hear the popping? They're sealing, which is great. So I like to make it so I can sample it to make sure it's passable. That is really good. It is low sugar. Some people may like to do higher sugar, and that's great, but that's the thing, is you could do what you want and tailor it to your wants and your needs. I like to do this for my daughter-in-law, Stacy, and I just want to make her health feel normal for a little bit. When you have somebody with a health issue, music to my ears, the chiming. When you have a family member who has issues, you just want to make them feel normal for a little bit. And that's why I do this. For me, food is love. If you enjoyed this video and felt like it was helpful, I hope it encouraged you to make some jam yourself. If there's something you would like me to teach you how to do, you can leave it in the comment section. You can give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Bye.